I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. Today I want to make a little spring bunny ditty bag. I'm going to punch a bunny and I want to punch it onto some quilting cotton. I've done this in the past by transferring my pattern onto weaver's cloth and then using some heat and bond to attach the weaver's cloth to the back of the quilting cotton. This time I'm going to do it with some iron-on cotton interfacing. I'm going to transfer the pattern onto that and then I will fuse it onto the back of my fabric and I'll punch that way. I'm going to see how that works. This is Pellon SF101 and it is a woven cotton interfacing. So I'm going to use the bunny from this pattern and I have enlarged it a little bit. I enlarged the bunny to 3 different sizes so I could decide which size I wanted. It's hard to tell when it's on the computer screen. It's easier for me to tell after I print it out. So I usually will print out several different sizes when I'm enlarging or shrinking a pattern. Then I'm going to place interfacing over the bunny and just trace as I would as if this were weaver's cloth. Now I don't need a whole lot of interfacing here because I'm just going to press this onto the back of my quilting cotton. The bunny is about 3 inches tall. So I'm going to lay my bunny now on my quilting cotton and kind of figure out how big I'm going to want my bag to be. So I think about that wide and then I can flip it over on the bottom and measure that. So I want to cut about 4 inches. Then I'm going to press the interfacing onto the back side of the fabric. So the instructions say to steam press it with a damp press cloth. So I have got my pressing cloth wet and I'm going to press it down for 10 to 15 seconds. We'll see how that looks. Looks like it's on there good. I'm going to go ahead and press it from the back side too, or the front side. This isn't quite big enough to fit into my hoop, so I'm going to go ahead and sew a couple of other pieces of fabric onto either side of it. I'm going to use 3371 for the bunny and 3033 for the bunny tail. And I'm going to use my smart punch. I'm going to punch a punching depth of 1 for the bunny and then I'll do a little bit deeper for the tail. This is a little bit harder to punch through with the double layer of fabric. I'm finished punching and now I'm going to take these extra pieces of fabric off. And I can always use these again later for another project. I pressed this piece and then I cut it down to a 4 by 10. I chose that size because when I folded it in half, I like the distance that the bunny is from the bottom here, and then when I put a little bit of a hem in the top, I think that's going to be a nice size for a little bag. And then I cut another piece of fabric also in a 4 by 10. This is going to be my lining and this just happens to be something that I have coffee dyed, but you could use whatever fabric you have on hand. So I'm going to fold this in half lengthwise, right sides together, and pin along each of the long edges. And I'm going to sew along each of these edges with a 1/4 inch seam. And I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. So on the bottom here where it's folded over, I am going to trim the edges, cut a corner here, and that will help it lay when it turns. I'll do that on both pieces. And then I'm going to turn it right side out, and I'm going to press both of the pieces. So I pressed the lining so it's right side out to press the seams, but now I'm going to turn it back to be inside out. And then I'm going to put my 2 pieces together so that the 2 right sides are together. So I'm going to put this that's right side out inside the lining, which is wrong side out. And I want to line up my seams. And then I'm going to sew around the top here, and I'll probably use a little bit more than a 1/4 inch seam, but I want to leave an opening for turning. I left the opening on the front when I first did it, so I went back and I sewed that opening closed, and now I'm going to do a little bit of seam ripping here and create a new opening on the back side. That should be big enough for me. It's probably about 1.5 to 2 inches of an opening. And then I'm going to use that opening to turn the bag. You could certainly do a bag like this without lining it, but I wanted to have the bag lined, and that will help protect the back side of the punching when I am putting things in the bag. So now I want to push this lining back inside the bag. I pressed the top edge here, and now I'm going to use a needle and thread to sew up this opening. I'm going to use some of this pre-twisted rusty wire to add a hanger to the bag. This is about 9 inches, and I'm going to poke this in from the outside to the inside, and I'm on the back side of the bag, about 1/4 inch down from the top. I'm having trouble getting the wire to go through, so I'm going to use a larger needle to poke a hole through and wiggle it around a little bit. Hopefully then my wire will go through. Okay, and then I'm going to turn this back up towards the top so that it will stay in place. And I'm going to use some needle nose pliers to squeeze that. Now I have some crinkle ribbon that's been dyed, and I'm taking a strip of coffee dyed cheesecloth and I'm going to put it together with the ribbon, and it's a little bit shorter than the ribbon, but I'm going to put the two pieces together and tie them on. I've got this greenery here. It was on a long garland and just pulled it off, and it looks to me like little carrot tops. I'm going to put that in the bag. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.